Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another Buster Wolf podcast. It's been a while. In the midst of the fighting streets, we've been playing the closed beta all weekend. Pretty fucking good game with Street Fighter 6, as I hear someone rummage on their mic. What is that? But yeah, we've been playing Street Fighter 6. There was the announcement of Mortal Kombat 1. Still waiting for some news on that gameplay. Maybe we'll get some at the next PlayStation conference. And we just been generally enjoying fighting games so far. It's been a great year. Waiting for Tekken 8 to come out. Hopefully we get a release date for that. But my name is Renegade Operative, and I will be introducing the panel. We're talking about the story and the lore of all the Tekken characters and things like that, with some very interesting questions. And the first person I'm going to introduce today is JoJo.
What up? I'm a big Tekken fan. I love Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Been a Tekken fan since I played, I think, Tekken 2 at the arcade when I was a kid. Big fan of the series, and I think someone just hopped in.
Yeah, hey guys.
Oh, Nikki.
There she is.
Oh, okay.
Just on time.
Because I'm outside, but
Oh, that's all good.
Okay.
We're doing an introduction. So, JoJo, what was the rest of what you were saying?
Yeah, big fan of Tekken. I'm really looking forward to Tekken 8. I'm so happy that us fighting game fans are going to be eating good this year.
Next, we have Andre.
Yo, howdy, Andre B. Venom here. I do love Tekken 2. I love fighting games. Been a huge fan of them for a very long time. With Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, and MK1 on the horizon, I'd say things are looking bright for us fighting game players. Yep.
King Nero, introduce yourself, good sir.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? It's Nero. I didn't wear my Harada shirt today, unfortunately.
Don't ask me for shit. I just love when he says that, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah, I got a Tekken in elementary school. Brought almost all the games recently, and I've been having fun with them for a little bit.
Started with Tekken 2, and I just kept on playing. But next, we're gonna introduce Nikki. Waparino?
yeah, hey, sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah, sorry about jumping in late like that. Hi, I'm Nikki, everyone. I like Tekken. I'm not very good at it, but I started with Tekken 3 on the PlayStation 1, and I was curious about Devil Jin's design, really liked it. And I guess it just went on from there. I discovered Li Shaolin through Dragon Ball Z. His design reminded me of Trunks, and I guess it was kind of love at first sight. And yeah, like I said, I'm not very good at Tekken, but I just enjoy everything about it.
Next, we have Kaneki.
Man, I'm a huge fan of this franchise ever since growing up as a kid. Started out with Tekken 2, of course. I couldn't find a copy of Tekken 1 at the time, but years later, I'm glad I didn't, because we're gonna get into that later. But I've been growing up with fighting games like Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat lately. I'll try my best as I can to refresh my memory about Tekken lore, because right now, Street Fighter is on the mind, and those pre-order. And once this podcast is over, I'm gonna keep playing Street Fighter 6 until they close the beta.
If only we got a Tekken beta. Fucking only, but that's probably not gonna happen.
For real.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Fane.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? I kind of got into Tekken pretty late. I would say my first Tekken game was probably Tekken 6? Or was it Tekken 5? I don't remember. I had it on the PS3.
It was 6.
Okay, yeah, 6 then. I'm pretty new to the series. I played a bit of Tekken 3 on the Tekken 2, and Tekken 3 on the emulators. That's about it.
Hold on,
Nine-
before we continue, am I crazy or is 5 on the PS3 with Dark Resurrection?
Yes.
Oh yeah, there was a PS3 version on Tekken 5, but it was a download only game, I think.
Yeah, you can only
It was on
download it.
PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I know I was playing that on the PS3 emulator. It's just a little food for thought there. But we're going to get right into it with the questions. We're going to be mostly talking about story, lore, characters, all that stuff. So it's going to be very specific to what is going on in Tekken. So we're going to go down the list and give our answers. The first question is, what do you think of the long-running Mishima Bloodline story and how it's being implemented throughout the series over the years as a big staple of the lore and franchise? Jojo, I want you to go first.
Okay. I think the Kazuya bloodline, the Mishima bloodline, excuse me, and the Tekken storyline is, I would have to say, is probably one of the darkest, storylines in video gaming, because you got fathers, sons, grandfathers, grandchildren, all trying to just straight up kill each other because one's a sore loser and they want power and stuff. And not only that, but with Kazuya having the devil gene in him, pretty much making him evil, unless he was evil before that. I think he didn't turn evil till after he got tossed off the cliff as a kid. But I think that was when his devil gene awoke. And it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of a dark storyline, having people who are related so closely by blood, and they want nothing more than to just kill each other and take what power that they have. And at least two of them, Jin and Kazuya and Heihachi, want to pretty much rule the world. And I think Jin just wants to bring it all down for the sake of being a good guy. But yeah, it's very, very dark, very, very gripping storyline. I like it, but that's also another answer for another question later.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Oh, I was muted again. I feel the same way. I'm gonna go real quick. It's very dark family patricide stuff where people want to kill each other's parents and grandparents and then end the bloodline, so to speak. I do feel though at times this story has been kind of dragged out a bit, but it is interesting for what it is. Throughout Tekken 1 through like 4, it was at the peak of the Mishima bloodline. And then you had Jin come in there and he was like, oh, well, I have to take all you guys down because you're fucking crazy and I gotta end the bloodline. And it brings a tragic hero element to his character, which I always liked about Tekken. So is that three-way dynamic of more family coming in. You got obviously the chick from Tekken 7, I forget her name, Kazumi or whatever. She came into the picture. You see her origins, then you see Jinpachi, and it's all just a giant entanglement of family corruption and how they sort
Don't
of
forget Jun Kazama.
Yep, June too. June is the element where it's like she's pure and all the stuff is going on with her son, and that's definitely going to lead into a question later because I know what people are going to bring up with Tekken 8's story. But
Yes,
it's really, really good when the good gets going, and I always like appreciated the story for years. Like, who's gonna die next? Who's gonna fuck up someone next? I was surprised when they got to the point in Tekken 7 where it's like, oh well, Heihachi, that's it. But it's like this man needs to come back again from the dead. I don't care how you do it, just make it fucking happen. I just love all these characters and how they have this inner turmoil, and I think if it wasn't there, it wouldn't be as interesting as it was, despite being dragged on a bit. That's my opinion on the Mishima bloodline story. Interesting stuff they're doing, especially with the devil gene, like the fact that they could turn into these creatures and fight each other, and Heihachi wants some of that. I always like that element a lot. So Kaneki, I will let you go next.
No, I wouldn't say it's one of the darkest stories I've seen in video games, but it's been an interesting ride with the Mishima bloodline story, especially when, you know, even during the entire Bloodline story, you get to see what happened to characters. For example, in Tekken 3, where Jin has to fight Ogre, and during that, Ogre was been on a killing spree to where you know, where he's killed other characters off screen, like the first king, the first armor king. No, I like stories that go into more than just the main bloodline story of Jin, Kazuya, and Heihachi taking over the world. And I do like the fact that I do like how Kazuya got introduced into the Devil Gene, because at first you seen him the devil taking over Kazuya, but later on in the story you would see Kazuya takes the fucking control of the devil, and that's a pretty cool thing. So I can't wait for Tekken 8 to see. Hope we get a conclusion.
Nero, it is your turn. What do you think of the Mishima Bloodline arc and the entire Tekken franchise?
Me personally, I think it's just one of the most craziest beefs out there. All because Heihachi. I can go to spoilers, right?
Yeah, you can.
All because Heihachi decided to smash Kazumi, who was supposed to kill him. Like, if he didn't smash Kazumi, I think none of this stuff would even happen. And I feel like all this stuff could have easily just been all this stuff could easily be resolved in the next game. Hopefully, you have like Jin and Kazuya preparing for the final showdown, and it's just with Tekken 8. I hope it becomes like something wild. I want to see a really crazy ending to this long family beef.
Fane, it is your turn. What do you think of this whole Mishima family bloodline nonsense?
This this feud is really wild, in my opinion. The fact that it all started because what was his name? Mishima was scared that his wife was going to give birth to the devil, so he just straight up threw his son off a cliff. Son comes back, beats him, and becomes a devil, and then all hell just breaks loose. And then at some point in there, it just straight up World War III, dragging everybody in there into their feud. I think it's absolutely wild.
Andre, it is your turn.
Okay, I will take. Tekken's story is really interesting because if anyone's not aware, Kazuya actually used to be a good guy, but when you actually get to the ending of Tekken 1, it kind of pulls the rug under you, and it shows how villainous Kazuya really is. And Tekken 2 onwards, Kazuya is basically a straight up antagonist. So once Tekken 3 pretty much gets the ball rolling with Jin, kind of meant to be like the anti-hero, kind of meant to sort of be like, the redeeming replacement compared to Kazuya. It really starts to get even crazier when like Tekken 6 happens and Jin basically kind of like falls in the footsteps of his like dad. And then with Tekken 7, the Mishima family, it's Tekken 7 essentially is kind of like the conclusion of like, I guess, Heihachi's whole story, right? And how he pretty much fights Kazuya to death and loses and gets thrown into the volcano. It's pretty crazy stuff. Like, I think the Mishimas are definitely one of the most like kind of fighting game protagonists, or at least most interesting with like when it comes to like moral, kind of like in the moral spectrum. Like they're not really straight up heroes; they're just straight up villains. Like compared to the likes of like Ryu or Soul from Guilty Gear and so forth. But yeah, I really think it's a pretty great storyline. Can't wait to see how Tekken 8 is going to resolve it, since Jin is going to be fighting dear old Pops as is like supposed final showing, but we'll see. But yeah, that's my answer.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question here. Is there a distinctive storyline you want to see continue or resolved in Tekken 8? And the first one that will go is JoJo.
Well, since I'm like kind of a big fan of I kind of like the big rivalry that went on with Hwoarang. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that name wrong, and Jin. I'd like to see how that kind of goes. How it's kind of a little friendly, rivalry. Like it always accumulates at every one of his endings where Hwoarang and Jin kind of square off in some way, whether it be on a motorcycle or in a fighting ring. I also want to see the story of King kind of have a happy endings. He's had nothing but bad times, and he's kind of one of my favorite characters. But yeah, I also want to find out why the hell Paul looks the way he does in Tekken 8. That's a story I want to hear in Tekken 8. That's what I want to find out, how that happened.
All right, I'll go next really quickly. The only thing I kind of want to see resolved, so to speak, is, I mean, it's the elephant in the room, it's June. Now she's back after all these years, and we had next to no information on her in the story. We presume she was dead after the Tekken 3 attack on all of the fighters. And I was wondering, like, okay, we haven't really seen the body. We've seen the intro where, ogres holding a human head, but that could be anybody's head. And then watching Tekken Bloodline once more, we see that June didn't really fully die on screen. So I'm like, what's that about? So we all presumed for years that she was still alive, and this game kind of confirms it. So what I'm hoping for is that the game not only explains her absence, but also maybe possibly allude to some nefarious things with the little unknown creature that's probably inside of her. That would be a great turn and twist if Jin sees that for the first time and he's like, holy shit, what is that? And it's affecting my mother. I have to do something about it. And you know how much he loves his mother. So they could make something interesting there. And plus, it's like Rad said on the last podcast, somebody's got to stop Jin and Kazuya from killing each other. So she would be the ideal candidate in that department. So I want to really see that storyline progress. And I guess maybe give Lee something to do. That's going to lead to a question, but I will talk about that much later. So, Kaneki, it is your turn.
Before I go on, I'm gonna take a wild hot guess on how that's gonna end. Jun is gonna die, like for real this time.
God fucking damn it!
You know it's gonna happen eventually.
I do, but
Kazuya is gonna probably kill Jin, and that's where Jin will fucking squash the rivalry here and there by killing Kazuya, and that's how it ends.
That's really dark. But God damn it.
Yep. A specific storyline. Well, JoJo did kind of take one of my answers. I do want King's story to be resolved because, oof, have you seen his stories in previous games? That motherfucker has a bad past. Like all of his members dying left and right, especially in Tekken 4 when he was about to, take a life of Craig Marduk, but he let that motherfucker slide, and now they became tag teams for a bit. The only storyline I wanted to either continue or resolved, and this is from Tekken 7, Eddie Gordo's search for Jin. I forgot what reason he's going after Jin, but I was actually curious to see if Eddie Gordo will still continue to find Jin and hopefully squash whatever beef he has between him and Jin. Can anyone tell me why he's going after Jin? I forgot.
I do not know, actually. All I know with Eddie Gordo is that he was, I think Kazuya killed his dad or something.
Yeah.
So
Kazuya killed his dad.
So I'm not sure what his beef is with Jin. Maybe it's kind of like, hey, you killed my dad, so I'm gonna kill your fucking son over here, and then what are you gonna do about it? But that's gonna be pretty hard to do.
Oh.
So, I'm.
Andre said it. Jin promised to help save his master.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. I don't mean to
And I
interject,
guess
but
he
like,
didn't deliver on that promise.
yeah. Okay. Basically, to make this short, long story short, Eddie worked with Jin for a little while, and Jin promised he can help like Eddie's master. And come Christie's Tekken 6 ending, well, that didn't happen. As a result, Eddie pretty much swore to like get revenge on Jin, considering he like broke his promise. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason.
I guess he doesn't know that that was all a smokescreen, and Jin was trying to take over the world because of bringing out Azazel, which was really important at the time. So I guess maybe they could touch on that and see why they both have conflicting values right there. But go on, Kaneki, you had more to say?
I think that's actually. Is there one more? I think that's it.
Oh, all right. So we're gonna move on to Andre. Is there any character resolutions you want to see resolved for Tekken 8?
The resolutions.
Yep.
Okay, you know what? The most popular one, Nina and Anna's rivalry. They've been at this since they debuted in Tekken 1. And it's like I know like for a while it was like going on quite heavy in like Tekken 1 and 2. Then Tekken 3 they got cryogenically frozen for a while. And it's been going on with like no signs of stopping. I would kind of like it to like, at least come to a conclusion or something like that. And since, since Nia has a son, which is Steve, it would be interesting to see Steve get involved in like both his mom and aunt's mess in some regard, at least try to be like a peacekeeper to both of them. Like, instead of no one dying, he just tries to like save both of them, like, bury the hatchet, something like that. Yeah. As for another character, I guess I would like to see Marduk and Armor King's rivalry get resolved too, because I think it's really interesting how like Marduk killed the original Armor King, and Armor King's younger brother wants revenge, and like I said, and King has to like play that mediator role against them. So hopefully, if Armor King and Marduk make Tekken 8, they'll do something interesting with their story. But that's all I gotta really say on the matter.
All right, Nero, it is your turn.
All right. But well, Andre took one of my answers. Yeah, I want to see how that Marduk versus Armor King thing went. It's like they had something. They had a story in 7 where if one of them lost, they had to retire or something like that. I want to see what happens in Tekken 8. Did they actually go at it, or did something happen? Like, I really want to see an ending to that. And also, I want to see the whole thing with Miguel and Jin, because Miguel has beef with Jin because Jin killed his sister in a bombing. And in Tekken 7, Miguel was gonna beat the hell out of Jin, but Miguel thought it wasn't even worth it since Jin was like still weak from like being in his double form from 7.
All right, I think it's Fane's turn now.
I'm going to choose the stupidest answer and just say to see if Paul finally wins Tekken, the Tekken tournament. I know it's stupid, but this man has been trying almost every year. Every time the tournament comes up, he is entered and almost wins, only for either him to get pulled over by the cops or just defeat Ogre the first time, but didn't know about the second form. I just want to see this man win. That's what I got.
That's so crazy because he was almost very, very close to my memory in Tekken 3 because he beat Ogre, from what I understand, but he didn't beat True Ogre, and he left the tournament thinking he won, and he got severely cucked.
Yeah.
I hate that so much as a Paul fan, so I pretty much know people's pain there.
Watch, they might kill him too.
Ah,
Oh no, they won't. Paul's too popular to get rid of. Nah.
hopefully
And he
not.
also lost to Kuma once.
I do remember that. Yeah, the bear beat his ass a little bit. Throw some bear treats. Throw a bear trap next time. You probably do well. But we're gonna move on to the next question, and that is, what is the best Tekken story in your opinion? And Jojo, I'll have you go first.
I would say the best Tekken storyline. It really depends on my mood. Like I'm one of the people that really likes how Tekken handles its funny characters and its funny stories. So I kind of like the ones that involve Law and Paul and maybe Steve. They're always doing harebrained shit to try and win in every tournament, and it's always funny. As for a serious storyline, I would say probably the best one probably have to be. Good question, actually. I would say probably maybe the Jack family, maybe the Jack line, because a lot of them. Like I think there's a little bit of like a little bit of the trope of the robot discovering his humanity in there, and I like how how his demonstration of that humanity is he goes out of his way to protect that little girl. I can't remember her name. What's her name again? The little girl he protects.
I totally forgot.
Oh, okay. Well, I always like that story, and of course his little Russian dance taunt always made me laugh. I like that. Those are the kind of I like those kind of stories, the funny ones and the ones that kind of tug at your heartstrings a little bit.
I'm going to make a very typical response. I honestly like Jin's progression so far in the Tekken series, where he goes from innocent, kid just fighting off bullies to his mom being taken from him, which is a traumatic event that will affect anyone harshly as much as it did, and especially knowing that it was some weird ass creature that got released from the temples and you want to kick his ass and he kicked his ass. Then you have his grandfather shooting him in the head and literally getting away with it, and then you have his father being revived from the dead and trying to take the rest of the devil out of him. So it's a lot that character has went through. It's a lot they put in terms of the lore and the arcs and everything, and how it all interconnects to Mishima Bloodline, which we talked about is a grand overarching story. So I really like his story the most. I thought that really was a long-standing thing that was worth it in terms of energizing the series with a character that is new but also familiar to previous fighting styles with Mishima and everything. So I pretty much enjoyed that. Next up is Andre.
What was it? The question?
What is
story?
What is the best story within Tekken in your opinion?
Oh, I think we skipped Nikki.
Oh, Nikki's not here.
She's not.
Oh, okay. I thought she. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, she said she's gonna come in late.
You mean stories or just overall stories of the games or just characters?
It could be either or. If it makes the question a lot more interesting, like what is the best story within the lore, or what is the best Tekken story in general in terms of video games?
Okay, in my honest opinion, Tekken 4. The intro of that game is amazing. Like Tekken has a lot of great intros, but that's probably my favorite. And the sole reason is because Kazuya comes back from the dead, and it's really crazy because that sequence where he's just fighting all those fucking soldiers. I think it was Mishima's Zaibatsu soldiers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was that was from Tekken 5.
Yeah, Jack Boss was Tekken 5.
Yeah. But yeah, he was beating the shit out of all the Mishima's Zaibatsu members, and to the point where he literally got his hands on a gun and I think that scene of him about to pull the trigger, and you kind of see some blood trickling down on his head. It looks like he's about to shoot him, but instead he punches the fucking soldier, and I was like, that just right there really sold the game for me. But I really like how Tekken 4 just handles its its intros and its endings. It's got this very like early 2000s, very like it's not like edgy, but it's got this very like really like serious, dark early 2000s feel to it that I really admire. It's I that's pretty much all I gotta say.
You know what? I'm gonna elaborate on that real quick. If I said storyline that's the darkest between games, I'm gonna say Tekken 3. Tekken, I mean, no, in terms of the best, Tekken 3. I'll say darkest for later. But yeah, Tekken 3 is the best because they did like giant energy when they decided to say, hey, we're gonna do a 15-year time jump and introduce all these new characters and kill off a lot of legacy characters while not only trying to do this to enhance the story but put new people in new places and new positions. That's like a giant leap. And it's like I watched a video on this from Four Snake where he said, not a lot of franchises in fighting games were successful in getting rid of the old cast and bringing in the new, but Tekken 3 was the one where everything felt like a natural step forward, and a lot of people weren't really pissed off because other characters had other people's like fighting styles and stuff like that, and it felt like a gradual growth with the characters being new but also widely accepted. And I think a lot of new
They
people
weren't functions either.
Yep, they weren't functions. They weren't tossed aside eventually outside of, because they brought back Kazuya anyway. So it all worked out in the end versus others where it's like, hey, we took out Scorpion in vanilla Mortal Kombat 3. Let's make another version. We fucked up. So I really like Tekken 3 and how it all followed up.
Oh yeah.
Also, I guess it's fair to also ask Jojo this question before we move on to the next person. But Jojo, what is your favorite Tekken game overall, story-wise?
Storyline-wise, I would say probably 3 because of how it handled the big time skip and how it brought in all these new characters that were kind of taking over the reins of the old characters, like how the king in Tekken 3 is a different king from the one and 2. And only a few of the actual characters, came back, like Heihachi, Paul, Nina. That's because she was cryogenically frozen, and to an extent, Anna. I kind of but I liked how they handled that time skip. Like you said, it was kind of that way of bringing in the new with the old, because if you just get rid of the old classic characters, the game's gonna feel weird, like you said with Mortal Kombat 3 not having Scorpion, so they made another with him in it. It's gonna feel that way if they make another one without King in it or something. But yeah, I would say the best story was in 3, and I would say followed up maybe 5. Also want to say that I really like the opening cinematic in 5, the PS2 version, because that song was really cool.
All right, next up is Kaneki.
The best Tekken story. I would. People. Andre already said Tekken 4, so I would go with the next big thing. Obviously, Tekken 5. In my opinion, has like in terms of the best story tells between characters and its endings. Especially when King, when you play throughout his whole playthrough, and then you get to the ending. Actually, no, it was Armor King. Armor King, you get to play his ending, and then the other king comes over, and he's like, "Who are you?" And then you realize it's not the same Armor King; it's a different Armor King. Well, aka Armor King the Second, and he just beat the shit out of King in a wrestling way. And then I like how the Mishima bloodline story continued from Tekken 5 with different endings from Jin, what if endings like Jin taking Jinpachi's fucking powers, or I think it was the canon ending where Kazuya took his powers, if I'm not mistaken. Ren?
Hold on. What is one thing I know in Kazuya's ending? I think he kills him, And the
Yeah,
other
he
one,
kills him.
yeah, and then the other one with Jin is the one. It's Devil Jin where he takes his powers and he becomes this black big demon thing. I know I'm wording this super poorly, but that's exactly what happens. We never see that devil form again.
No, because this probably wasn't the canon ending. I just like the what if endings in Tekken 5. Oh, remember the Lee ending where Heihachi was fucking wearing I
Fudoshi,
forgot
whatever that
the
is,
Fudoshi.
Dong,
Yeah,
whatever. Fuck. Oh man, dude.
and that became like one of the fucking costumes to must have in future Tekken games.
And isn't that like white garment that like from a distance looks like he's wearing tidy whiteies or something? Is that what you're
Yes,
talking about?
yes.
Okay, I know what one you're talking. Oh God,
Japanese
The outfit when he's
Japanese
not-
tradition.
That's the
Like-
outfit when he's not fighting like one of the other Mishimas.
So stupid. Oh,
that
Excellent.
image is in my head once again. Thanks a lot, Kaneki.
Oh, man,
Diaper from 4 gave me nightmares. Remember?
It's
Hey,
the
so you wore
diaper.
4.
oh man.
Oh no.
Two finger.
But is that it for now, Kaneki?
Yes.
All right, then Nero, it is your turn. What is the best story in Tekken from individual games?
See, I do have a favorite favorite character story of mine is like Fang, because of like he was like one of the best students in his martial arts group, and he killed his master, and he's trying to find the Wind God Fist. So it was like a typical martial arts movie villain trying to find sacred power. And I do like Brian's story a bit. Brian and Yoshimitsu's beef. I wonder how that's gonna be like resolved, because Brian has done some crazy shit to Yoshimitsu's clan, and Yoshimitsu is not gonna let that slide.
That's kind of what I was thinking of for the Tekken 8 question, but I didn't answer it. I was like, that beef is kind of
He'll probably be killed off too.
interesting.
Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I really had this like idea where like if Brian comes back in Tekken 8, like his design should show him like he's like starting to decay. He's like on death's doorstep. Yeah,
Hey.
kind of neat.
He was on that once, and then they should kind of show Yoshimitsu like fucking him up, and he's a little bit scarred, even more scarred than he is now. Actually, now I say that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he has like I think one of his legs is like completely like robotic in Tekken 7. Yeah.
One of his arms on his legs.
Yeah, one of his arms and legs are like completely cyborg. It's like it's coming.
Gotta watch out for them LTG chicken legs, man. But next we have Fane. Fane, what is your answer for the best story in Tekken in your opinion? Could be games or either individual lore stories. What is the best?
I think I like Lee Chalon's story a little bit, where like he becomes like the foster son or like the adopted son into the Mishima family. Then he gets kicked out, and then he becomes like his own independent businessman, and starts working with robotics. He becomes like this chill dude with his famous catchphrase "Excellent."
Excellent.
Excellent.
So we're gonna
He
move.
also-
Oh, go ahead.
I think he also becomes like kind of a womanizer.
Yeah, pretty much. He got a lot of scantily clad women around this place. You know what it is.
Also, to answer JoJo's question, I think the girl's name, I have it right here. Jane. That was her name. The little girl.
Jade?
Jane.
Oh, Jane.
Jane.
Okay.
That was the little girl who Jack was fond of and protected.
Hmm.
All right, so
I wonder if they'll continue with that in Tekken 8.
probably
We'll see
if
like her adult version.
Yeah, all grown up.
Yeah.
It looks like she's gonna be in Tekken 8.
That's interesting, actually. That'd be cool to see. It gives more character development to Jack.
Yeah, she'll be 30.
Oof, yeah, that
Oh,
time skip.
man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. That makes sense, though. But we're going to move on to the next question, which I'm probably going to take first so people can have an example. But what is the worst Tekken story in your opinion? Okay. I gotta say, if I'm talking about games between Tekken 1 through Tekken 7, I gotta say Tekken 6. First and foremost, I understand they're trying to go bigger with the idea that Jin is the antagonist this time around, but since it all led to him ruining people's lives for just getting this demon out and stuff like that, and you have to play a little arcade or campaign scenario, whatever the fuck it was. And then they were trying to sort of set up Lars, and then all these other stories were going around. It was a giant mess. The only thing I really remotely liked about it was the war aspect. Like, everybody's going to war, everybody's fighting. I feel like they had the right idea on paper, but the execution was just messy. In terms of individual stories that I didn't like or appreciate, I'll say that I kind of just didn't like it's something with the next question, obviously. Well, the one after that, with arcade ladder endings. But I don't like some of the stuff they've been doing with Paul, where they've been turning him into like a big joke, which I'm gonna save for like later and talk about that. But I feel like he went from serious fighter to joke character, and that progression is something saved for a later question. So I'm gonna let Kaneki go next on the worst Tekken story in his opinion.
Oh, that's a toughie. I would say in terms of how you tell the story about, the entire Tekken story, not just the Mishima Bloodline, but in terms of how expressing what's going on in front of your fucking screen. I would have to say, ironically, Tekken 7. And here's why. Here's one simple reason why. When you hear the announcer tells you what's going on in the Tekken 7 story atmosphere, he doesn't sound excited. He sounds like he's bored. Sounds like he doesn't even want to narrate the entirety of the game. It's like whoever hired the guy to narrate the Tekken 7 story doesn't have all this energy, or doesn't try to sound like even frightened of what's going on in the story. It feels so bland. Makes me not want to play Tekken 7 story again. But I do like the cutscenes of Tekken 7.
Oh yeah, Tekken 7 visually looked really good.
I was gonna write this in chat, but I might as well say here real quick. I wish they did something more with Akuma story wise. I get he was an assassin and everything, but I feel like if you're crossing this major character over from Street Fighter, you could do a little bit more than just, hey, I'm here to kill this dude and that's it. Like, I understand, like, he wants to fight to be the strongest. It makes sense, but I kind of wish we saw more in the actual storyline, and we didn't. So it's just kind of, and plus he gets on my fucking nerves when I fight him with Shin Akuma, but that's another story entirely.
Yeah, I'm curious what he meant by owing Kasumi a favor. Like, did he save her before?
Probably. So see, that's like some of those fill in the blank details that they did not go into depth with, which I could have used a little bit more of that to appreciate the story, but they didn't. So
No, the only way we would get it is if they added an Akuma again in 8, but I doubt it. He was a one-time character.
Andre, what about you? What do you think of this?
Worst Tekken story.
Yeah.
Probably 6, if I'm being honest. Like I said this in the chat, Tekken 7 is slightly better because I will say this much: it wraps up Kazuya and Heihachi's like entire rivalry. Like the animosity between father and son is like completely done. Like like for all of Tekken 7's story flaws, you can't deny that final fight with Kazuya and Heihachi was amazing. Like it was just fucking perfect. 6, I think the problem with 6 is they try to introduce Lars, and I think Lars is cool and all, but I think it just feels too convoluted because I was like, Heihachi has another son, you know, it's weird. And like, because they try to pass off like Lars is related to like all the Mishimas, and the way he did it's really weird. I think Jin's plot to like stop Azazel was just kind of, it was honestly, I thought it was kind of dumb because the reason being is like he goes to all this trouble and starts World War III to awaken Azazel when honestly he could have just found Azazel or some shit like that. You know, he'd have to do some shady shit as like head of like what was it, the Mishima's like boss, but at the same time he could have like avoided a ton of casualties. And yeah, but yeah, sick of the storyline. I don't want to like drag this out too long. It has too much going on for it, and I think a lot of the endings are in that game are pretty forgettable. Like I don't think I remember any of them, honestly. I forgot almost all the
I don't
Tekken
remember
6
Tekken
endings.
6's story. Is it really that bad? Holy shit!
It's forgettable. It's very forgettable.
Yeah, what Ren said.
I just only know the Miguel and Eddie shit in 6. That's about it.
Yeah, I remember Asuka and Lily's fucking ending, but it was cringe. I'm sorry.
Oh, you know what? Let me add something. I remember that fucking ending. Oh boy, in Tekken 7 between those two. Asuka got bought by Lily, so she's Lily's bitch.
Yeah.
What a way to ruin a character that could potentially be added to the Mishima bloodline story. She would have been an interesting character to be added. Because remember, if no one paid attention to was it Tekken 5, Asuka's ending, she was healing Jin. She was healing the devil out of Jin for what is it like for that moment. She could have been like the next Jun Kazama, but they didn't work with that, I guess.
Yeah, that was just baffling to me because, like, honestly, truth be told, I kind of wish Lily didn't exist so that way Asuka can at least finish a rivalry with Fang, and that way she can at least have more connection to Jin, like try to sort everything out. But what can you do? What can you do?
But Jojo, it is your turn.
I would say the worst Tekken story.
Yep.
Well, if you want to count this, I'd guess maybe the Tekken tag games, mainly because those barely had any stories and most of the endings were just joke endings. But I'd say for overall stories in the canon games, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna go with 6 because 6's story was the most forgettable. Because at least 5, you had the thing with excuse me, with the father of Heihachi coming out, Jinpachi, him being the big monster that he was, and 4, I believe 4 was like the return of Kazuya, and those two were pretty epic. But 6's was just kind of weird because how Jin kept trying to cause all this chaos around the world for the sake of bringing Azazel out. Like, did they explain like why that was the only way to get him to come out, was that, or they couldn't find him, or what?
I am sure there has to be an explanation, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's not. The only thing I can think of is that this a huge surge of power and all this war and stuff was needed, and Jin needed to accomplish what he needed to fight him. It's weird. It makes me even think, how did he find out about this thing in the first place, and why he decided not to really tell anyone about it is beyond me. So I don't know. I guess maybe that was the entire plan of deciding to take over all the Mishima Zabasu troops and doing this, but it's very convoluted in my honest opinion.
I like to think of it like Full Metal Alchemist with the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
You have to kill all these people just to summon this one dude.
So crazy though. It's you know what, Fane, since you spoke, it is your turn on this question. What is the worst Tekken story in your opinion?
Oh, character story is gonna have to do Roger, the kangaroo. Despite the fact, yes, he's a joke character, and the fact that he was brought up like he was brought up to be a fighter, as well as his clone Alex, the Velociraptor. But if during Roger's story, he starts a family, gets kidnapped, and so it's up to his wife and Roger Jr., his son, to enter the tournament and to save him. And when they do save him, he was living in luxury the entire time, and then his wife divorces him.
Oh shit! I didn't know all that happened. Oh my god! It's like I'm a kangaroo. He turned to Kangaroo Ken when people thought the rumors of him being divorced were true. That's too soon. That's too soon. All right, Nero, it is your turn. Worst Tekken story of all time.
Oh man, I would say like 6. I don't know what the hell they were doing with 6. It's just like I know they introduced a lot of characters like Lars, Miguel, and stuff like that, but it's just like I feel like it was just not really written properly. It just rushed it out the window, rushed it out the door with 6. And I think in terms of, well, I don't know. I think in terms of like characters, I would I would say Bob, but I'm gonna talk about Bob in another question.
All right, that's fair enough. So we're gonna move on to the next one, and this is a pretty easy one. What is the darkest story in Tekken history, in your opinion? And I'm just simply going to say it's a toss up between Tekken 3 and Tekken 4. This is when the story gets really dark really quickly. Endings are also kind of dark as well, and the overall atmosphere where it feels like this is going to be possibly the end of the road for a lot of characters, and it was the end of the road for a lot of characters, ultimately became true in certain cases. So I would say it's a toss up between Tekken 3 and Tekken 4. Next up is JoJo.
I would say probably the darkest story. I would probably have to say, again, I know I'm sounding like a broken record because Tekken 3 mainly because of how the how Heihachi, is just all up in arms about wanting to kill his son to the point where his grandson, excuse me, to the point where in not Kazuya, Jin's Tekken 3 ending, Heihachi just freaking puts a bullet in his face. That's really cold. And I always found stories of family members, turning evil and maybe ruining or even killing their family members. I think that's kind of a dark story. I've always been a fan of those kind of dark stories, if that makes any kind of sense. So yeah, I thought Tekken 3's ending. I thought Tekken 3's story was kind of the darkest, followed up by I want to say ones, because at the end of 1, it's revealed that the main good guy, I'm using in quotation marks, Kazuya, was kind of evil all along. And after that, he just went a big downward spiral that caused the entire world to pretty much be thrown into chaos.
All right, next up is Kaneki.
Y'all summed up pretty much for mostly Tekken Dark stories, stories in general. But I would say the darkest Tekken character stories would have to be won't have to be kings because you look at Tekken 1, 2, basically throughout most of the Tekken games and how, even as a wrestler, he struggled with it, with what's going on between the tournament and his, basically king, the other king and Armor King's getting killed by Ogre and other and other creatures, to where he almost took a life himself, namely Craig Marduk. Well, I just like those type of stories, where he wanted to take his revenge out on someone, but he chose to hold back and then decided to be friends with that said person who, you know, I think Craig Marduk murders someone, if I'm not mistaken.
Armor King, he murdered the original Armor King.
Okay, so that's what it was.
Yep, the original Armor King in a bar fight, I believe.
That was an interesting story, how eventually they made up and became friends. And then, the Armor King the second showed up and he don't like the new king.
You know what? I'm gonna add on to that. If we're talking about a character that is they're starting to have a dark storyline, I would say Yoshimitsu. Because not only was his clan wiped out, but there's also the fact of he was friends with Dr. B, and he was trying to help Brian Fury get the whole generator inside his body, and as a token of gratitude, he destroyed the entire lab, and I think he injured Dr. B and he betrayed him. So with that beef comes darkness, and it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, I think Nero said it earlier. Seeing that have a resolution is gonna be kind of cool. It's probably gonna go to a dark place at that. So Nero, since I talked about you, what is your opinion on worst story, or did you go yet?
Worst story, I already went with worst story. You're talking about darkest story in the Tekken series?
Yeah, darkest story. My bad.
I think the darkest story was, well, in terms of character, it was like Wang Jianrui and his relationship with, well, his friendship with Jinpachi. It was like, in a non-canon ending, you see like Jinpachi dying, and Wong feels sad about his friend. Essentially, he was going through a lot of pain, being tortured by Heihachi and being possessed by this demon. Like, Wong really felt some kind of way about that. And then Wong dying in like Tekken 6, it was pretty fucked up.
Oh yeah, I remember he grabs the orb, something happens and then he dies. So it's pretty sad and tragic thing all around that happened to that character, so I agree with that. Fane, what about you? Worst stories. I think you went right. Did you say Roger or?
Yeah, that was for worst. I thought you were doing darkest.
Oh, darkest. What's the darkest story?
I'm gonna have to say it's gonna be the atrocities that Dr. Abel has done throughout the Tekken series.
Oh yeah, Dr. B's nemesis.
Yeah. Like, this dude was, compared to the Mishimas, he was nothing. But this dude did some evil things, experiments as well, on people.
Dr. Abel sucks.
He does. I forgot he existed until you guys brought him up.
Yeah, that was I only remember him because I was like, I know Dr. B was like beefing with somebody. I couldn't quite remember his name until that got brought up. I was like, oh, it was Dr. Abel, yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I can't remember who he's beefing either.
It was the other doctor, but like, he did, if I recall, he's the one who actually turned that dude into a cyborg.
Who, Jack?
No, not Jack.
Brian?
I think, yeah, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
But he also did kill Jack. first time, which then led Jane to study robotics to bring him back.
Alright, so Dr. Abel needs to be castrated. I got it.
And I think Dr. Abel also pretty much tried to nuke Jack, but Jack protected Jane. I think that was him.
Oh, I remember that ending. I know that ending.
I
That
think
was from Tekken 2, right?
I think so.
Holy shit. That ending was dark. I'm not gonna lie.
the best part was when Brian killed him. Because he kills him in his
Yeah,
arcade ending.
He just straight up makes a dent in the wall with Abel's body.
It's so great. It's my favorite part of Tekken when that ending happens.
But he's basically the cause of like Brian and Yoshimitsu's feud.
Yep.
Now.
He inherently caused it, which makes it even more dark that way. But anyone else? Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't think I went. I don't think did I go or did I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Just
I thought he said his darkest was Tekken 6. Or no, not Tekken.
No, that was like darkest like no, that was best Tekken story. Yeah, I said best was 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make my answer really fast and impromptu, but if we're talking about darkest story, probably Kazuya's easily because like I said, he starts off something of like a traditional like fighting game hero, and when you get to Tekken 1's ending, it kind of turns the tables, and he's a lot more like ruthless than he lets on. Tekken 2 onward,
I'm not a hero.
yeah, but Tekken 2 onwards, he's more villainous and ends up turning into like a huge asshole. Like no pun intended. I mean, look, it's Tekken 5, and he literally fucking punches his grandfather into dust. Like I think it speaks for itself, and like considering how many atrocities like he's committed over the years, yeah, Kazuya is definitely one of the most easily the darkest character in the whole series, easily.
Yep.
Maybe that's where Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan took notes from. Kazuya.
Well, and he didn't quite stick the landing, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Man, Kazuya is a false protagonist. You know, people think he's the good guy, and then he throws his father off a cliff. Then he returns the favor, comes back from the dead, and then he's just completely evil. It's definitely a dark turn for sure. So we're gonna move on to the next question here. This is question number 6. So what is your favorite and least favorite arcade ladder endings? I'll make mine's really quick. My favorite is honestly it's short and it's kind of stupid, but I did like the ending in Tekken 5 with Jin, where he beats Jinpachi and he sits on the throne, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? Now he's the head of Mishima Zaibatsu? I thought he was trying to destroy these people.
Oh yeah, he turned into Leon in that ending.
Yeah, then he goes
with the way he sit.
Then he goes to the throne and he sits, and then it's like the dark music creeps in. Like, it really, okay, I put it like this.
I think that was the canon ending, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is for Tekken 6. And I think that it was interesting because even though we all said collectively that Tekken 6's story was all over the place and kind of shit, it was leading somewhere interesting before they did the whole Azazel's in the ground. We gotta summon them just because. But that was kind of cool that Jin was sort of becoming evil just like his father. So if it was a natural progression, but I still felt like that overall story was kind of messy. but I did like that ending a lot because it was a perfect setup into the continuation of Tekken 6. That being said, worst endings, anything involving Gon, fuck him, fuck his shoes, because he's
only a one-time Rand. That's okay.
he still ruined one of my favorite games of all time for being ported, Tekken 3. So I'm gonna say his ending sucks just for being petty. That's what I'm gonna go with.
No, you just hate him in general.
You hate him too. Don't be reminded of that, sir.
Oh, hold on, sir. I might hate Yoda more than Gon, to be fair.
Oh, okay, that's going to Soul Calibur territory, but I understand because his hitboxes are also trash. But since we talked about this and Kaneki brought it up and mentioned things, let's talk about your experience on best and worst arcade ladder endings.
I think my best ending, my best arcade ending is, of course, I'll bring it up until the day I die. It's the King's arcade ending in Tekken 4, where he was walking up to where Craig Marduk is like resting somewhere in the hospital,
and
he took that man's throat. He was about to knock that nigga out for good. He was about to kill him, but then he looked at Craig Marduk's picture that, oh shit, Craig Marduk does have a family. You know, that he's not just, he's not some asshole who killed Armor King in the bar. This nigga actually has a heart somewhere within Craig Marduk himself. And then the motherfucker just like, no, he's not gonna kill him. And then he just walks off. That type of endings I like. Holding back, knowing whatever, after all Marduk did to Armor King in that bar fight, killing him. It's like showing mercy on Marduk. That was interesting. The worst ending, you said Gone. I want to know. I'm trying to figure what's the second worst ending. I can't say Mokujin because Mokujin's endings has been fantastic. Even where supposedly he had a resolve where he's back to a fucking tree. I can't think of one. No, the one I brought up earlier about Lily bought Asuka pretty much. I hate that ending. Period. Literally killed off any hope of Asuka being taken seriously as a character, in my opinion. They ruined her.
Oh.
Anyone can go.
I'll take this one. Okay, I'll go with favorites. Okay, two of my favorites. First one, Boring's Tekken 5 ending. That ending is fucking sick, where he's just riding around on the highway on his bike, and this is after he defeats Jin Kazama. As he's riding,
Yeah.
Devil Jin appears in the shadows, and next thing you know, he appears in front of Horang, literally blows up his fucking bike, throws Horang back. Horang's like, ugh, he's on the fucking ground, picks himself up, and he literally stares, and it's Jin transforming to Devil Jin. And instead of being afraid of Devil Jin, Horang's like, come on. And he tries and well, we all know how that ended up, but you gotta admit, Horang standing up to Devil Jin was dope. I love Steve's Tekken 5 ending also, where he finds the laboratory where he looks and it turns out it's all these copies of himself because Steve was part of an experiment. And Steve gets so pissed, he literally punches the tube so hard it breaks it completely. And he ends up destroying pretty much the lab in the process at rage. And after that, he pretty much lights the whole lab on fire with a lighter and just walks off at how in a lot of fiction where character explosion back of the car and they walk off. Yeah, that was sick. Other two ones I really like. Least favorite, I want to say Paul. You know what? Eddie's Tekken 7 ending. Fuck Lucky Chloe. That ending was terrible. Imagine taking one of the coolest characters in Tekken and turning him into a joke. Man, awful.
I feel him. Shout out to Unruly. Sorry to interrupt. Shout out to Unruly. I feel him there when that ending played.
Yeah, because it's weird because Eddie was pretty much a pretty serious character for the most pretty much all of Tekken's all the stories, and then they literally turned him a joke in 7. Just I was like, really, you're really gonna do him that dirty? Which hopefully if he comes back in 8, they give him a better story. But That's pretty much all I gotta say. Yeah, it's a mouthful.
All right, Jojo, it's your turn. What is your favorite and least favorite arcade ladder ending?
Oh, JoJo dropped.
Oh shit. Well, we're gonna move to Nero until we figure out what's going on.
Wait, hold on. Can I drag him back or no? I can't. I don't know if he got kicked by Discord because he didn't talk.
What the
Oh,
heck?
there he is.
Oh
What was
damn.
that?
Oh, I don't know. Discord's being strange. Were you kicked?
Yeah, I got kicked for a second.
That was weird. We just called on you for best and
Yeah,
worst arcade ladder endings, but I
yeah,
guess you
just
can
as
go.
just as I unmuted my mic. Okay. For best ladder endings, I like. Like I said, I like a lot of the humor Tekken has. So Tekken, I would say a lot of the endings. My absolute favorite ending has to be I think it's Law's ending in Tekken Tag 2, where it's him and Steve and Paul. They're in like a shack out in the desert or something, and they got all this prize money from winning the tournament, and Law gives them both a pizza with a bunch of laxatives in it. And then as they're stuck inside, shitting themselves, he's running off with all the money. I like those funny endings. I love them. Worst ending, I would probably have to say, God, I'm trying to remember which one it was, but their ending was like a short cinematic that was like maybe like a few seconds long, and it didn't really tell me anything. It was in Tekken 2, 1, 2, or 3. Oh God. It's so forgettable that I can't even remember it right now, ironically. But it was one of those kinds of endings. The worst one that I would say that I would remember, I would say probably King's not King's Armor King's Tekken 2 ending, mainly because at the time when I saw it, I didn't quite understand what was going on until way later when more lore was revealed and it was him, his eye bleeding. I didn't like that. That was like, what just happened? That I just left me scratching my head.
Even back then, I actually understand why he had the bleeding eye as a kid. I actually liked the ending because it tells this motherfucker is either injured or he's about to die in the next game.
Yeah, the king characters all have tragic tales. I mean, wasn't Tekken 2's king like a little bit of an addict or something?
He lost his ways. I know that for sure, but I forgot what reason. He just wasn't in a good spot.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the kings were alcoholics.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones that died.
In the
Okay,
intro, he was kind of like stumbling around near the trash cans and stuff like that. I do remember that. I was like, he was this dude drunk? And I was like, oh shit, well, he kind of is messed up a little bit.
I'm surprised Harada didn't try and make an animated Tekken story based on the Kings. That would have been an interesting Netflix special to watch.
Hell yeah.
No, we were just making Netflix have ideas. Go ahead and do it.
That one's free. You're welcome.
Yo.
No, they'll just make more live action animes to ruin people's childhoods.
No, please no.
Oh well.
Stop. We don't need that.
Nero, it's your turn. Best and worst arcade ladder endings.
All right, for the best one, I really do like Brian's Tekken 3 arcade ladder ending. It shows like how psychopathic and monstrous that man could be. Like where he grabs the tank, the tank turret, and just chucks these officers. I was just laughing my ass off. And the fact that he was just charging at them like it was nothing is just like crazy.
What about worst?
For the worst, I don't really think I have a worst ending. I thought most of the endings were kind of meh. but not necessarily like the worst.
I have an honorable mention, I guess. The ending, is it Tekken 2 where Paul just sort of goes on a motorcycle and fucking drives into somewhere and he tries to punch a rock in the middle of the road and he does, and that's it. That's the ending. I'm just like, what in God's name happened? It's just like it's the most pointless ending I've ever seen. It's not one of the worst, but it's definitely not the best at all. So that's just kind of how I felt about it. But Fane, what about you? Best and worst arcade ladder endings in Tekken? Go.
I think is Mokujin's ending in Tekken 3 because of how silly it is, where his wife beats him up, tells him to go get water. He goes gets the water, sees these two mini Mokujins playing Tekken on a wooden arcade machine. He starts playing, and as soon as he beat his wife, the female version of Mokujin, his wife is right behind him.
Clobbers him and knocks him in the air. It's funny.
Yeah, it is so silly. I think the worst ending is Ganryu's ending in Tekken 5.
Is this when he becomes a simp?
Oh, that ending.
He felt like he fell in love with one of the contestants from like
I think it's
Tekken 2.
Julia?
Michelle.
I think he likes both of them. I just forget. I just know he's a simp. He's a simp now.
To both of them, yeah.
Oh man.
So, fell in love with
Nikki is back.
He fell in love with Michelle in the first one, and then when she says no, kept saying no to him. Years later, he falls in love with her daughter.
Oh.
And she's
that's icky. That's a little icky.
The dude was like 50 at the time.
Good lord.
Like he was getting he got the data to rebuild the forest for her. And he tries to propose to her, but then that girl just dips.
So, confirmed. E Honda better than Ganryu.
Yep.
I was actually just about to say that. E Honda, at least his number one love is Chenko stew and not like creeping up on women.
Honda's cool, at least. Honda's the
particularly Native American women.
Yeah, is that number try? Was he logged on anytime? What's that character doing streams now? Julia?
Julia, yeah, she's a streamer now in 70.
That man watches her streams. I remember I remember when he was introduced in Tekken 7 as a DLC. This man needed help with streaming, and then Julia had to help him, and then he had this weird feelings for her. I'm like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, his storyline was just it's yeah.
E Honda better, and I hate E Honda so much, dude. You have no idea, but that's another story entirely.
No, you hate Blanca.
I hate Blanca too. He can go on the list. Blanca Chad right on the list.
There we go.
Nikki, it's time for your favorite and least favorite Tekken arcade endings.
Oh god, I think I have more I disliked than I liked, honestly. Like I forgot, I think it was Tekken 5 where it was Li Shaolan's ending where he had Heihachi as his butler.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Why is Heihachi wearing a thong is beyond anyone's guess, but
right?
Right.
Like his big ass just comes on the screen and it's like, what? But oh my god, there's so many that I dislike. Tekken 7 had like a ridiculous like side stories thing, but the Yoshimitsu and Leo thing was like really creepy. It's like he had this weird attraction to Leo, and like Leo was really just like a cute fetish thing for Yoshimitsu. And god, what other ones did I dislike?
He probably knows that Leo was a woman.
I think he knew, yeah. But I think it was Tekken 6. I think it was the combined ending of Law, Paul Phoenix, and Steve Fox. It was like It was something about like they had poison pizza or something, or like they purposely like put laxatives in Steve's pizza
Yeah,
or
that was the
something.
one I mentioned earlier. That one was funny. I love that ending.
Oh my god, I think it's so stupid. I mean, it's silly, but I really hate how they reduced Steve Fox to like this comic relief like them too. Like he had a whole like designated story with the Mishima Zaibatsu, with Nina being his mother, with the mafia trying to kill him, XYZ, and it's like, oh well, now he's just
Oh, that's definitely
that.
question number 8.
No, we'll get into that. And then God, that's probably about it. I mean, I wish they would do more. Well, actually, no, this goes more into question 8, so I'm gonna. Yeah, that's pretty much my answer.
It's fine. So we're gonna move into number 7 before we move into number 8. So it's sort of like a positive, negative thing. So in terms of your favorite character, who is a character to you where the story has progressed nicely, a story that you feel like is great in terms of their character and they didn't mess up anywhere at all? I guess I would say Huarang. I really like what they did with his plot so far, where he's like this drifter and then he comes in, and then the rivalry with Jin. I don't think they missed with that character in terms of how he progressed. I even like that they made it partial canon where he actually did beat Jin, and then it turned out he tapped into Devil, and then he lost, so he's coming back and the rivalry's back, and it's all just great. And the stuff with his master Bayek, I thought that was really touching when they had those endings in there with Bayek's ending in Tekken 5, and it's great, it's all great, and I kind of want to see him progress more. Even in Tekken 6, it was like I don't want to get this power from Jin. I don't want to be corrupted. I want to be my own person. So I felt like they did him justice for the most part consistently.
I have a bit of a crazy theory before anyone continues. Let's say in Tekken 8 he does have an actual conclusion where he does beat Jin, but with both forms. And for his secret final boss, he fights a familiar character with his familiar fight style from another series called King of Fighters, Kim.
Yo, they did that. I will literally not.
That'd be hype as fuck.
Who has the better style of, was it Taekwondo?
Yeah, they use
Yeah, who does
Yeah.
that style better? That would be a great conclusion.
Kim.
Pick him by default. But Kaneki, since you went, what is your opinion on this question? Who they did good in the Tekken series consistently?
Consistently,
Nope, where they didn't miss at all story-wise for him.
So far, I would say other than Hawang, it had to be King. Actually, before 7, I would say King, because I don't know what's King's story in Tekken 7, like the ending to it, but up to that point, they have been consistent with King's story, like from the from his drinking problems with the first King, and then the second King realizing that Marduk murdered Armor King in the bar fight, etc., etc. I really like the endings with Kings. Like I said, I just wish Harada would capitalize, make an anime series about the Kings. All other not supported characters. Other characters needs their stories to be told as well, not just the Mishimas.
Oh yeah.
The lead, I would say the well, actually no, there is no question about least favorite character, but I'll say the least character that progressed nicely is I would say Law, because I don't know, because he didn't went anywhere after, I want to say Tekken 4. They just haven't done much with him ever since.
What about you, Nikki? What do you think of this?
They need to figure out what the hell they're gonna do with Brian Fury, because he's just a troll. I'm not want to say he's a jobber because he kicks the shit out of anybody who's around him, but they need to give him some kind of motivation. Like the whole thing that he had with Lei Wulong, like if I remember, it was Lei Wulong who got him killed, and the fact that they didn't even interact like in Tekken 7, which is like interesting. But then he had a rivalry with Yoshimitsu, so I guess Tekken Tag 2 kind of put that to rest. But I just feel like there's something more that they could do with him. But as far as like what character progressed, definitely I agree with what Ren said about Hodorong. Definitely, I think he's probably the most improved character based on who he has like those relationships with. And me and my friend were saying for Tekken 8, like, what if he's the one who's able to tap in and dispel the devil from him? Because it doesn't look like Asuka's doing anything like that.
No,
Um,
she belongs to Lily now. Lily's bitch.
yeah, she's like Lily's pet now. Yeah, so like it will be interesting if like if it was Horong who was able to like take the devil out of Jin and save him from this darkness. I'll say Li Chaolan, really. I think he's doing pretty well. Him being the black sheep of the Mishima, quote unquote Mishima family, because he's adopted, but the fact that he's just been a troll and pretty much like, when in Tekken 7 in the story mode, he told the reporter guy, "There's anything you want to know about Heihachi, just ask me." And he was like the link in between them. And what else? I liked what they did with Anna, actually. I thought that was a pretty cool little side story that they had. That was Nina, who I think, I don't know if this was exactly canon, but that Nina was the one who killed Anna's fiance, and I think it was because they said Anna's fiance was actually supposed to kill Steve, but Nina interfered, and of course Anna got really pissed off about it, and I don't remember if that was canon or if that was just a fan theory.
What about you, Nero? What do you think on this? Consistently good character throughout the series, story wise. Nero, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just thinking for a minute. I'm just like trying to figure out. I think I don't really have a favorite that progressed nicely. I'm just like, as far as I'm concerned, this is like,
you know what? I got a better way to word this question. Is there a character you want to see get an upgrade story wise?
upgrade story wise. Yeah, I want to see Fang get an upgrade story wise. Honestly, he's supposed to be looking for the Wind God Fist, like the signature Mishima technique, and I wonder, will he even obtain that technique in Tekken 8? Will we see him get that scroll? And I think he had like some kind of dragon power in like Tekken 7. I want to see that come into play in Tekken 8 as well.
I guess I'll interject since I put in a new question there. Character I want to see get an upgrade. Miguel. I think Miguel needs it. Really needs it. Because his arc is pretty much over with the whole. Well, I don't know. I think he's still pursuing Jin. I just completely forget. I just know he was doing that at one point. Now it's just like he's making routine appearances. So I kind of want. What I want for him is a larger part of him being introduced into the whole rivalry thing, just like Harang is. Like I feel like he deserves that, but he's not getting close to his original ambition, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I want to see him actually finish things up with Jin, because Jin, as I said before, Jin did kill his sister in bombings.
Yep. So what about you, Fane? What do you think of this?
Well, first off, Fang, I think he did obtain the scroll, but it's more like words of wisdom that basically just beat everyone else. you get stronger, or something along the lines of that. But I don't really know. Like, I think I like Lee Long, his story, like his progression. I don't know. Just it's really. I'm not really deep into the lore of Tekken.
Is
Like,
is
there are certain things I know, but like I could probably answer like the last question.
yeah, is there a character that you kind of want to see more on the forefront, or no?
Yeah, there is a character I want to see more of, and that is Bob.
Oh god,
Oh boy, Bob.
I hate Bob.
I
My
don't
boy
like
Bob.
Bob.
I mean, and I use Bob in Tekken Tag, so I'm kind of a hypocrite. But in ways I hate, it's like he's a character I don't mind playing as, but I fucking hate fighting him so much because he's annoying. It's one of those. I don't mind maining him, but fighting against him, no.
Sure, he may be a joke character to some degree, but that man is a very skilled fighter, and I want to see like them use him more in the story.
Bob and Slim Bob, my worst nightmare ever.
Hmm.
Oh,
Uh,
Don't worry, Ren. There's Rufus in Street Fighter.
I hate Rufus even more.
I think everyone hates Rufus.
Yeah,
I hate
he's-
Hakan even more. Like so much. He's an
He only
oily
appeared in
man.
one game.
He's
the oil
oily.
wrestler.
Fuck him. Yeah, the oily wrestler.
Let's oil up.
Let's oil it.
I don't think I went with a character that progressed nicely.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, you know what? Really simple answer. I'll keep it short and sweet. Steve Fox. Honestly, he's a really cool character. Like, really like his fighting style. Really like his design. I think his story is really interesting. How he's like, oh bless you.
Oh, thank you.
But he's the story of Nina Williams, which I think is really interesting in hindsight, considering that Jin is the son of Jun Kazama, like the offspring of of the original, the OG generation. So yeah, and yeah, but I think Steve's a really cool character, and it's really gonna be interesting. And I would kind of like them to see how they develop his character past like Nina, like instead of all like he finally gets over his past, like starts anew and like opens up his own gym, tries to scout fighters or something like that. I like some fan fiction stuff, but hey, I mean the sky's the limit with this character, but yeah.
Is there a character you want to see more at the forefront?
Oh, okay, more of the forefront. Okay. Character I'd like to see more of the forefront. Lei Wulong. Lei, like Steve, he's really cool. Like basically Jackie Chan cop, and I don't think they really do a whole lot with Lei's storyline past maybe. Yeah, they haven't done much with the story like since probably Tekken 5 or 6. It's been a while, and I think he's kind of mostly reduced to like comic relief, which I mean, I don't know. It's just, but back to Lei, like, I would like him to see get involved with like other characters, like I don't know, someone like the new character like Lydia, for example, that was like introduced in Tekken 7. It'd be cool and kind of neat. I think there's a lot of potential you can do with this character if like handled right. Like if he solves like even like world-ending crisis. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's what I'd like to see. Yeah.
I know what people said about they want something like Roger and Alex to come back in Tekken 8, but you know who I really want back? Forest Law. Where's that motherfucker at? We've seen too much of martial law. We haven't seen Forest Law since Tekken 3.
Like let's
That's who I
regulate
want
him.
to come back at the front line.
Let,
We need more Forest Law.
yeah.
Oh, to interject, Kaneki, I had this idea where before Tekken 8 was revealed, they should have like Forest replace Law, but they actually have it like stick with this time. Like let's just say Law kind of like retires and Forest takes up the mantle, and he trains with Paul to like get back in tip top shape and like be the strongest fighter. That'd been really cool, but I'm so happy Law's in Tekken 8. Like, you know, he's a staple.
Law tag team complete nightmare.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the Tekken tag games.
Nikki, I saw you unmuted for a second. Did you want to interject on the character you want to see at the forefront?
Yeah, I was gonna mention about Miguel. He actually, I think he did resolve his situation with Jin in the side story.
Oh.
If I remember, yeah, his ending was that he beat Jin, but he refused to kill him. He said, "I'm not going to kill you." In fact, or he says instead, "I'm going to suffer or let you suffer. I'm going to take away from you the thing that means the most to you."
Hmm. Okay.
Which I don't know if they're going to do anything with it, but the person I want to say more so that means the most to Jin is obviously Jun Kazama. And can you imagine? No offense to Miguel or anything like that, but can you imagine Miguel killing her? I mean,
that would be
Jin would
insane.
turn evil. Jin would turn back to evil, like from 6.
well, yeah, I mean,
Um,
technically, like, Miguel has the means, like, you know, he hits like a truck. I mean, he could.
that,
But story-wise, like, I don't think so. But to answer your question, yeah, I definitely agree with, I want to see Lei Wulong. Like, there's a lot of inner connecting characters within a certain story, like Brian, Lei Wulong, Steve Fox, Leo, like Steve's or not Steve's mother. Leo's mother was Steve's babysitter when he was in the Super Soldier Project, and they told Leo's mom, "Don't get close to Steve. He's a throwaway." Like he's as Nina told him in his 7 ending, "You were a failed project um of the Super Soldier Project." So they told Leo's mom, "Don't get close to him." What did she do? She got close to him and she set him free, or tried to, or something. And I think she ended up getting killed by Kazuya, which was Leo's story in 6. But Steve and Leo, as far as I know, never interacted. Like, it would be nice for them to say, like, "Hey, your mom took care of me," and Leo say, "Oh, what do you know about my mother?" or "Talk to me about my mother," like that kind of thing. I do want to see Nina and Steve interact a little more. I do want to see them get a little closer. I know it's not exactly in Nina's character to really get close to other people, but she seems to give a damn enough about Steve, like to the point where she's not incredibly heartless towards him. I do want to see him and Anna interact too, because she is his auntie. So like, it would be really funny if like she says, "Oh, my nephew is so cute," and she spoils him and wants to go shopping with him, and she shows him off like to the media and everything, because I think Steve is a celebrity. So she's like, "My cute little nephew, look at him." And then when you mentioned Lydia with Lei Wulong, like that's interesting because Lei is a Interpol cop and Lydia is a politician in Poland. So like an Interpol working with the politician, that could work.
yeah, I actually said that. Like, if it would be kind of interesting if he got like involved with Lydia in some capacity. Yeah.
You know, then I'll change my answer. And I know he's a recent character, but I kind of want to see more of him. I want to see more Leroy. I think that'd be kind of cool if he was like.
We are. He's an 8.
He is an 8.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
did.
Yep, he had a character trailer.
Damn,
How
I
did you
did
not
not.
see that, right?
I
Dude,
somehow
New York
missed it.
City is like, yeah, New York City is literally New York Leroy or New Leroy City.
New Leroy City. He's
got a big
They got
dog
blown
too.
up. And
He's-
the Machinists don't care about Leroy like that.
All right.
He's
He's got a
Grandmaster.
dog too.
Yeah, I know
Leroy
about the
was
dog.
awesome.
Yeah. All right. I'll pick another one then. This is a good answer. Whatever this thing is, it's a damn dinosaur. It needs to be at the forefront. I want Alex to be at the forefront to do something. I don't know. Even Roger, because they don't seem to use those characters anymore. So it's like I kind of want to see them back a little bit.
Not after they got in trouble with PETA.
I remember that, and I thought that was highly stupid. Do a German
But I'm like,
suplex
you
on
got
Peter.
Panda and Kuma though.
I don't like Panda. I think Panda's awful.
Yes, you do.
No.
You liked Panda.
No.
Top 8. Top 8 in Tekken tourneys.
I bet that panda tastes like fried chicken. Put it on the grill or something.
There
There
we
you go.
go.
Put it on the spit, spin it around.
Yeah.
Rolling them Panda Express.
He likes the Panda cheese commercials.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
But we're gonna move on to the next question. Question number 8. So, is there a character where you kind of look forward to their progression, but it ended up being disappointing? An example is Paul Phoenix being a joke character. I want to go first on this. Exactly, Paul Phoenix becoming a joke character because he was training to be the strongest fighter in the universe, and then all of a sudden he's the strongest fighter in the universe, wanting to fight aliens, and he keeps losing all these tournaments for the specific reasons. And I'm just like, what are you doing with Paul Phoenix? And like, can we get back to him trying to win at least one King of Iron Fists or getting closer? And it's just like, I kind of wish they do something there. And if I had an honorable mention, I would say Steve. Now, granted, as much as I like his story, the problem is that because they're doing this whole mystery with him and Anna and having these sporadic appearances and stuff like that, she holds a gun on him, not much is explained. You don't get that dynamic of what you really want, which is for them to talk more about, obviously you're my son and I can feel it, and we just have that moment between those two characters. And because that has not happened, and they decided to regulate Steve to joke status, and I think it was Tekken 5, it was a little bit disappointing. So I hope that those two interact in the future so they can have a full complete arc of that character and resolve that little matter of mother and son. And that's about it for me. Andre, you want to go next?
Sure. Is there a character you look forward but ended up being disappointing? Okay, you know what? And I think you guys will probably agree with me. Some of the Tekken 7 characters were kind of disappointing. Like, what was it, Gigas? Like, bro, when I saw Gigas initially, and
I
there
don't
was
want to
like
see him ever again.
same. I don't care for him, but no, before the game came out, I was actually interested because I thought, okay, this is the Marduk replacement. When the game came out, Gigas ended up being fucking low tier. His story basically amounted to nothing. Like, all that really amounted to was him supposedly being Katarina's father, because I guess apparently her father got captured by the Zybots who got experimented on and basically became Gigas, something like that. Because design-wise, Gigas actually has some pretty cool design. It's just he's just a giant husk of nothing. And as for other guys, I don't really know. I guess Josie probably counts. Yeah, aka the crybaby. She's
She was the replacement of Bruce, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, she replaced Bruce, and she did her story is non-existent. That Tekken 7 ending where she pretty much I guess pretty much cries because of Kuma. Yeah, cringe. It was pretty cringe, I'm not gonna lie, but that's really about it, honestly, for me.
I guess I'll go. I haven't gone in a while. I would say a character I was liking but ended up being disappointing. This is going to be another echo, but I'd say Jun Kazama, because she only appeared in Tekken 2 and the non-canon tag games, and she was meant to be kind of like this beacon of light, and I think there wasn't really much of her after 2, and like I don't know, I could be missing something in lore, but like, did she die or did she just go away? I don't
Which
remember
character?
the lore.
Assume that.
Yeah, Jun Kazama.
Assume
Oh
that.
no, she didn't die.
No, she didn't die.
Right.
No, she's been assumed dead for like 22 years or so.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it would be
22 years
nice.
our time. I'm sorry.
Right. It would be nice to see her, kind of make a comeback in a way, because her story was left unresolved with her trying to get her son to go on the right path of being a good person.
Well, she's an 8, so let's see
she's
how the story
great, so
progresses.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that. I'm definitely going to be playing that and check that out.
Nikki, you go next.
Nikki?
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Martial law. Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm not saying that every Bruce Lee proxy in all the games have to be the same, like Fei Long, Liu Kang, XYZ, but it's just you turned him into this comic relief character that's just it's so ridiculous. Like, what the hell is he there for? Like, I don't know. I just feel like he's so pointless at this point in time in the game. Like, if they had replaced him with Forest Law, that would be awesome. But unfortunately, now it just seems like him and Paul Phoenix are just like, oh well, they're just the comic relief characters. Like they're OGs, so it's like you could have a really good story with both of them. And I see some potential in Paul Phoenix's outfit. I hope that he'll have more of a focus in this story, at least. But I'm really not. What's the word? Not expecting much for him. Lei Wulong is another one. Like I said, I really think honestly the reason why they did this part or this angle with him in Tekken 7 is because Harada just got so sick of people requesting him on Twitter. He was like, "Fine, I'll put Lei Wulong in the game, but he's a simp for Lucky Chloe," and
What?
which was yeah. Oh my God, I think that's what they did. They did with 7 that he was a really big fan of Lucky Chloe.
Oh my goodness.
So Harada was probably like, "Okay, yeah, well, you finally got Lei Wulong, but blah blah blah."
Can I just blow my brains out right now because I hate Lucky Chloe so much. Oh my god, man!
What a way to disrespect a legacy character. Because whenever I play Lei Wulong, even in the old Tekken games, I remember he was a badass wannabe Jackie Chan Hong Kong police guy. Now he's not. Now he's a simp for a fucking idol. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the idol industry sucks. Go on.
I have to play his story again, but I think that's what it was. That he was like a big fan of Lucky Chloe.
Oh,
I think it's a bad time for me to say that I do like playing as Lucky Chloe.
get up!
No, man.
Lucky Chloe as a punching bag is required.
I'm punching back.
Yes, definitely.
Lucky Chloe's mid. I'm sorry. She
Lucky Chloe is the Nickelback of fighting game characters. People hate her just because it's popular.
Good lord.
That
means JoJo likes her as a character.
Hey, at least Nickelback had one good album, if you can even call it that.
I hate Lucky Chloe.
I don't think Lucky Chloe is going to be an 8. I think.
I hope not. I hope not.
I doubt it.
Honestly, I don't think she's going to be in, but if she does get revealed for it, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Cut my dick off right now and save myself the time.
Actually, while we're talking about other characters here like this, they need to do something with Christy also because she's.
Oh, I forgot about Christy.
She's literally like she's a clone of Eddie. She's literally Eddie with titties. Like
Yay.
they can't give her like a new move set. They can't change up any of her moves to differentiate herself from Eddie. And I'm like, come on, if you're gonna put her in the game, which I wouldn't be surprised if she's an 8 just because. I'm like, can we do a little something different with her?
Fun fact, Nikki, Chrissy actually was going to be in Tekken 3 initially, but I guess it didn't pan out, so as a result, they put Eddie. Yeah. They saved Chrissy for 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Christy again. I mean, it really wouldn't make sense to have like 2 Brazilian bombshells in the game, so they're probably going to sacrifice Katarina if they put Christy back in.
I'd be okay with that personally.
Oh, I'd be cool with that too. Like, I don't mind Katarina's moveset, but I kind of wouldn't mind Christy back either.
Yeah.
If they, end up doing something interesting with her.
Let's hope. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, did I get a chance of answering this question?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, because I got two answers to question 8. First off, this is short. A character I was looking forward to story wise, but ended up being disappointing. Of course, I mentioned earlier Forrest Law. Why? Because canon wise, he was only appeared in one game, and that motherfucker hasn't progressed since because all they want to use is, his father, Martial Law, the most. I'm like, you could just take out Martial Law and bring back Forrest Law to make the story between him and Paul more interesting instead of being fucking comic relief characters. Hell, even Ken from Street Fighter doesn't have a fucking doesn't have a comic relief character. He's fucking being chased by Mad Gear. And the other character, I was disappointed. Uh, character story wise, that I was looking forward to, but later on they got disappointed. Was Kuma. This man went from beating Paul to simping for Xiaoyu's panda, which was kind of sad. I felt for that guy. To working for the Mishimas with Heihachi, if I'm not mistaken, for like 2 games, and now he's just a bear fighting. Like, come on, bro! Like, do something about Kuma again. Maybe go back to try a second time trying with a panda. It felt like he's doing nothing. He's not just a bear fighter. Maybe go back fighting Paul and then settle the beef. I don't know.
Who wants to go next on this one? Anyone? Going once? Going twice?
I think we all went.
Yeah, I think.
Wait, did Fane went?
Just skip me. I have no answer.
Okay.
What about you, Nero?
Yeah, I agree with Kaneki with Kuma. I want to know how Kuma is gonna deal with Heihachi's death if he caught wind of it. I want to know if he's gonna like inherit I want to know if he's gonna inherit Heihachi's moveset or just still have his own.
That would be broken if he has Heihachi's moveset. If Heihachi in this game in Tekken 8.
I think he has like one of his strings, a little hell axle or something like that.
Yeah.
But I really
go on there.
But I really do want to see like Kuma's development as a character. Instead of him simping over Panda, I mean, he could find like another female bear that actually likes him.
Nah, you know what us men like. We like the ones that that doesn't interest us.
We like
Apparently.
the Asians.
Yes.
A female bear that beats the shit out of us all.
Yeah. I don't think I went. Did I do disappointing or?
This one is for a character that you thought had a nice arc that was progressing really well, and then in the end they messed it up.
Let me think. I think I said. I guess I said Eddie before. Probably Eddie.
Yeah, you did. You did. You answered it.
Okay. All right. My bad.
Well, I have one final question since we kind of did number 9, and I'm surprised that we didn't talk about this sooner or later because it is kind of a big component of the Mishima bloodline. But I want to ask people, what do you guys think of the Devil Gene and how that's progressing within the story? Do you think it's cool to see these different forms running around, or do you think they should do more with it? Just to go really quickly for me, I think it's awesome. I like Kazuya and Jin's differing forms, and I like the idea that Heihachi wanted to engineer some sort of devil gene for himself, but that never really went anywhere because I think it couldn't be accepted into his body because he needed Jin's blood or something like that. So there was a time where they were saying he's really sick or something like that and he needs it so he can survive, and it never really went anywhere as far as the story went. So I kind of want to see them do something else with it. A lot of people have been saying maybe Lars, but I don't think Lars even has the devil gene, so it's probably not gonna work out that way. But what do you guys think? I'll go with Andre first.
The double gene discussion.
Yeah.
Like more forms.
Yeah, more forms, or what do you think about it in general from a story perspective?
It's cool. I do really like the double gene aspect. It's very interesting. My only gripe, I think, has been drawn out considerably because is like we already know like Kazuya and Jin are the double gene, right? And Lars can't get it, but at the same time, it would be interesting if they had like other members of like the Mishima or like or shoot even like Kazumi's family, the Hachijo family from Tekken 7, because in Tekken 8, Tekken 7, they introduced like Kazumi's family, and apparently the double gene comes from Kazumi, and it was kind of interesting that she was kind of like the progenitor of it. Which after she died, that led us to Kazumi Vengeance. So I do feel like 8 is probably gonna answer more questions, or at least how like well, no, I think some did answer all the questions, but like but what I'm trying to say is like hopefully like, they do at least resolve it like permanently, and like have a good conclusive end to it all. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
I kind of want them to leave the door open a little bit, as a like you can if you want to kill members off that currently have the gene, that's cool, but I kind of want them to leave it open to where it still sort of exists and can be passed from person to person, and that sort of leads to Tekken 9. I'm hoping that they have like a sort of story jump in Tekken 9 where there's other people that may have it and feel like they have cursed genes or something. That's kind of what I want them to do. I don't want it to be gone entirely, but I do want this to be the end of the Mishima arc, but the beginning of something else, maybe something
Yeah.
else sinister too.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%, Ren. Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
So I'm gonna let Kaneki go.
Um, like Andre said it was pretty cool in the first 6, 7 games about the whole devil gene with the Mishimos, but eventually, and I hope and I hopefully for Tekken 8, this will be the conclusion of the devil gene arc where they finally sell the difference, and maybe if they was to do a Tekken 9, we would go through a whole different story instead of just focusing on Jin and Kazuya. Well, if Kazuya, this one is still alive, they'll focus stories on other characters, like maybe making Paul into a serious character again, and focus on characters like King and whatnot being the main vocal points instead of the Mishimas.
Nikki, what about you? Any thoughts on the devil gene and how it was introduced in this series?
Well, Harada would be absolutely nuts if he kills Heihachi and Kazuya in consecutive games. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But one thing that I found really interesting, and I have to watch the intro, like the very first trailer again. But there was a quote in there that said, "Come humanity, fight me with all you have." So I'm thinking, what if like the devil gene becomes its own entity, and that everybody all has to come together and fight off this evil that's even greater than anything they've ever fought before. But I like I'm kind of interested in where it's going. Like when they introduced, I think it was, God, I can't even remember which Tekken game that introduced the devil gene, but obviously Kasumi wasn't even really a thought until much later on. So I did like the little twist that it was that the devil gene came from Kazumi, not from Heihachi, which would entail that Lars never gets the devil gene because he doesn't have Kasumi's blood. But we don't know anything about Lars' mom. Like, what if Heihachi found her to be suitable to mate with? Like, maybe she's got some kind of, well, they're never gonna show who this woman is, but what if she has some kind of devil gene going on? Um, but it really wouldn't work out because the devil gene came from Kasumi. But I do wonder what they're gonna do with it in Tekken 8. It's gonna be Jin versus Kazuya, and I guess we'll just see where it goes from there. I like where it's been progressing there, and it looks like this will be the conclusion.
Nero, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on the Devil Gene?
I think the devil gene it's a cool concept, but I feel like it's just like sometimes I feel like it's just wasted potential because yeah, you have Kazumi and Kazuya and Jin, but Steve having the devil gene inside of him. So I wonder how is that gonna play into future Tekken games, or is that gonna play into Tekken 8?
Wait,
Because
of who having the devil gene?
Steve,
Steve. Oh, we're gonna have
I
a
think
devil boxer.
That would be
Oh.
absolutely fucking insane.
I'd be cool with that. That'd be crazy.
and I wonder are
That would
there
be
any,
interesting, especially considering he's been experimented on. So it's very possible they could have found some devil gene and spliced it with him when he was being created.
He'll be more broken if you keep mashing. No skill required. Than already is.
All right,
and
Judge.
I wonder
Oh, good.
oh I was gonna ask are there any other clans besides the Hachijos that have devil genes? Are there different types of devil genes that are out there in in the Tekken universe?
That is honestly a great question that we do not know the answer to. I put it like this: if they do another time jump or whatever, I feel as though they should answer this question because I feel like these Mishimas and Hachijos or whatever, they shouldn't be the only threat to the world in terms of transformations. And you can make more interesting transformations in the gameplay, in the story, in the lore that could be utilized as like special moves or special transformations, like when Kazuya goes into Devil and he turns purple and does all this crazy shit with the ray beams. So they could do something with that. I think that would be interesting for the next game if they go that route while planting the seeds in Tekken 8. But that's all I gotta say on that. Interject. I'm gonna let JoJo go next.
While I do like the idea of the devil gene in the story, to kind of give, some characters motivation for power and stuff, but I kind of like the idea Nero said that there would be like other kinds of devil genes out in the world, not just in the Mishima bloodline. Like maybe there'll be devil genes that like like make you like have different, forms of transformations, like there could be one where you're like a bird or one where you're like not even human shaped or something. I would love to see like or I would also love to see like I guess like someone trying to clone the devil gene into a character, but they turned out like, they got weird freaky powers because they couldn't get it right. That would be a kind of a cool little side tangent to the devil gene story. I would love to see that. See how people can get creative with that.
All right, Fane, you are the last one for the final question. What do you think of the Devil Gene transformation and how it's been integrated into the series?
Okay. I think the devil gene is a pretty cool idea, and I feel like they could do a lot more with it. Like, yeah, there could be other clans or families with the devil gene, and they have shown like there are other threats to in the Tekken universe, for instance, Ogre, who nearly wiped out every good fighter. But yeah, I feel like that there could be more things to come for Tekken, especially with the Devil Gene.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, what is under all these pyramids and what is going on with these ancient beasts? We've already seen like literally two of them, so maybe they could make like a connection of, oh, this is something unearthing in the future. This is going on, and ultimately,
Much bigger.
yeah, something much bigger is at stake, and all these heroes that are left, they have to stop them while training their kids to do it as well. And that could lead to something bigger in the future. Like I said, I like the war element of Tekken 6, but I didn't like the execution. So I would like if they do something like these evil gods underground have been stewing this whole time, and with the more fighting that's been going on in the King of Iron Fist, they get unearthed and everything goes to shit. So it would be a big war arc, but in a different way, and I think that would be really entertaining to see going forward, along with more people having the gene themselves and fighting their own merits. So I think this was a fun discussion, fun podcast. We're gonna have a shout out to Rad. He could not make it today, but it's his birthday. That is important. So happy birthday to Rad watching this podcast.
Happy birthday to
Happy
Red.
birthday.
You're 1 year closer to death.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Rad. You the best. You the GOAT, man.
I'm gonna get you a Brumach plushie for your birthday. I know you love those, man.
Also, congrats to him for not losing a ranked match in Street Fighter 6 as he reached the silver.
Absolutely,
Oh,
just
Very nice.
Impressive, very impressive.
destroy them boys out there. Shout outs to Rad, great member of the podcast and IES, great friend, and hopefully you're having a happy
Yes.
birthday. I will do the outros now. So you can find me obviously on Twitter at rentoperative_, and you can find me on YouTube at Renegade Operative, where I will be, dealing with either some Mortal Kombat 1 stuff. I kind of want to talk about it, so I might be doing that over the week. As for this podcast, I'll be uploading that on Infinite Ammo Syndicate, so stay tuned. Next we have Andre. Where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me at Twitter at Andre B Venom. I'm also on YouTube. I really need to get back to streaming. I haven't streamed in a couple of weeks, but yeah, that's all there is to it.
Next up, we have Nero. Where can we find you, buddy?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Kingdom Barrage. Also, yeah, I want to get back into streaming soon. Due to a personal situation, I couldn't really be streaming or doing anything as much. So when I get that situated, I want to go back to streaming. My Twitch is like Kingdom Barrage, and my YouTube as well.
Awesome. Shout outs to this man. He's been missing out on the fighting games, but honestly, so much coming out this year that I can't wait to play, and we'll get that all sorted out as time goes on. Next up is Kaneki. Where can we find you, buddy?
Of course, you can find me YouTube and Twitter only. In the same name as Ghoul War Order. You can also find me on PSN known as Kaneki World Order. Xbox, Steam, the same name Ghoul War Order, but not Twitch because fuck the ads forever. And all I gotta say is, it's a great time and year to be a fighting game fans. Whether you're into Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, or any other fighting games so far as they're getting in the spotlight right now, especially Tekken, since I believe that's coming out next year.
Awesome. Next up, we have the WAP, the introductory WAP. Do your outros, Nikki.
I hate you guys so much.
I hate you too.
Especially you, Ryan. You can't see me, but I'm flipping you off right now.
Hey, it's just what I do best. As my stuff falls on my desk, you curse me.
Now
Honestly, I'm
it's gonna
bringing
make
it all onto myself. So you can find me on Twitter at Nero Catatonic. You can also find me on Twitch at Nero Catatonic. And I am building up my YouTube again. I'm going to be putting a lot more content on there. Nero Catatonic Gaming. You can also find me on Metal Devastation Radio if you like metal. I play a lot of death metal, a lot of doom metal on metaldevastationradio.com Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. EST. So I hope to see you guys there. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Talking Tekken is one of my favorite things. I just love the lore of all my favorite fighting games, and yeah, cheers.
Lord, Tekken 8's talk is going to be 8 hours long. I'm ready for that. I'm going to be talking about every little detail. I'll be ready. But next up is JoJo. Where can we find you, bud?
You can find me on Twitter at The Lost JoJo. Also find me on the same name on Twitch, where I am currently on Thursdays streaming Gears of War, the entire franchise, the campaigns with my friend Sugar Bastion. We are currently we're about halfway through 5. And I'm also doing Monster Rancher on Mondays. So I don't know if I'm going to do one this Mondays. I got something coming up. You can find me on YouTube at JoJo's Woodshed, where I upload archives of my streams and just whatever stupid little videos I feel like making at the time.
And last but not least, we have Fane. Where can we find you, buddy, on social media?
Fan Insanity. You can find me on YouTube and TikTok at Fan Insanity. I really need to upload again. I think I have some videos saved up that I need to upload. I look forward to those. That's pretty much where you can find me.
All right, so
At least right now.
at least for now.
You know what? At least you're not in Montana. Since he brought up TikTok.
It's banned over there along with Tekken 8 clips. So it's gonna happen.
That shit will be effective next year, so.
But yeah, that's probably
He's
here
not
comes in.
there.
I've been reading that, and legally, they cannot find Google Play.
Oh well. Let's cut off the podcast now. We're gonna sign out. It's been a great time talking about Tekken, fighting games, and all that stuff. And once again, remember,
get that ass banned, you dumb motherfucker.
Oh my god.
Mods, you know what to do.
get that ass banned.